What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, 4 division world champion, Mexican superstar boxer, currently unified super middleweight, WBC, WBA world champion, Saul Canelo Alvarez, responds to the call outs coming from undefeated 23-0, 2020 by way of knockout, former two-time super middleweight world champion, superstar, Mexican boxer, David Benavidez. David Benavidez has been going on a tear, calling out Canelo Alvarez since Canelo Alvarez fought for his vacant WBC title that he did not lose in the ring. He lost on the scales because he missed weight, and the first time he lost the title due to the fact that he indulged in outside of the sport extracurricular activities, and it saw him be stripped of his WBC title. With that said, David Benavidez has been looking to face Canelo Alvarez for quite some time. He was stripped of the belt when he went into his fight with Alexis Angulo. That was August 15th of 2020. This was in the bubble right after, around the time the pandemic was still going on. It was still at its height in August, and boxing just started making its way back. In July, it started with Shakur Stevenson. So with that said, he said that he wasn't privy to all of the equipment he was used to, and he missed weight in the bubble. But you would think the WBC would, pardon him, seeing as though we're in a global pandemic and the sport of boxing and overall sports just started resuming, and everybody was in their house and everybody gained weight. They didn't give David Benavidez any leeway. Although, he is a professional athlete, so he's responsible for staying in shape. That's a part of his job. So everybody's to blame when you look at it from that standpoint. With that said, they immediately put up the WBC title for the vacant 168-pound super middleweight WBC title that he lost on the scales. They put it up immediately, and Canelo Alvarez, according to WBC president Mauricio Suleiman, he immediately petitioned to be able to fight for that vacant WBC title. What's interesting is he wasn't looking to fight for the belt when David Benavidez held the belt. So with that said, the WBC granted that he could fight Avni Yildirim. So he was looking to fight Avni Yildirim, and that's when he got into a complete rift with his platform, DAZN, and his promotional company, Golden Boy Promotions, because DAZN wasn't going to approve of him fighting Avni Yildirim for $32 million. Canelo Alvarez wasn't happy. He went to court, and he was able to get out of his contract with Golden Boy Promotions and DAZN. Oddly enough, he decided to go back to DAZN and fight Callum Smith for his WBA super middleweight title, undefeated British superstar boxer. And the WBC decided, well, we might as well go ahead and put David Benavidez's WBC super middleweight title on the line as well and make it a unification bout. And that's exactly what they did. They put his belt on the line. Canelo Alvarez won the belt. And ever since then, David Benavidez has been looking to get a fight with Canelo Alvarez. He even stated he'll go through anything or anybody he has to get to that fight with Canelo Alvarez because he's not going to fold. He said, I'm going to bring everything I have. Now, we know David Benavidez is a very big guy. Canelo Alvarez was at a disadvantage against Callum Smith. Callum Smith had a 79-inch arm reach. Canelo Alvarez had a 70-inch arm reach. So Callum Smith had a 9-inch arm reach advantage over Canelo Alvarez, who stood at 6'3", and Canelo Alvarez stood at 5'8". So he had a 7-inch height advantage over Canelo Alvarez as well. But he used none of those in the fight. He didn't display or use his height or his reach advantage at all whatsoever in the fight. If you want to be technical, he started taking a step back as soon as the fight started. With that said, David Benavidez is nothing short of the same height and advantages that Callum Smith has. But he's a different type of fighter, right? He has a 77-inch arm reach. So he has a 7-inch arm reach advantage over Canelo Alvarez. He stands at 6'2". So he has a 6-inch height advantage over Canelo Alvarez. The difference is, and he is 24 years of age. The difference is David Benavidez is coming to fight. David Benavidez is going to lay it on the line. David Benavidez has a lot of power. David Benavidez has a lot of confidence. Now, in one area he lacks, in my opinion, is the defensive end. And I think Canelo Alvarez could exploit that. He gets hit a lot. He was getting outboxed by Anthony Durrell in their fight before he ended up stopping Anthony Durrell via KO when he cut Anthony Durrell, which was a nasty cut, and then he applied the pressure and he ultimately stopped Anthony Durrell. So with that said, David Benavidez has been, putting a lot of pressure on Canelo Alvarez as well. This is a fight he wants. So Canelo Alvarez responds to David Benavidez now, and he says, I'm only looking to fight champions. You don't have a belt. And we can't count on you being able to make the weight at 168. Wow. So he says it makes no sense to fight David Benavidez because he don't have a belt and he can't commit, and we can't count on him actually making the weight. Well, this is ironic because Canelo Alvarez was fighting at 154, but Canelo Alvarez claimed he couldn't make 154 junior middleweight division, and he made up his own division of 155 and 156 for a string of time. But yet, he's talking about David Benavidez not being able to make 168, not having a belt, as if he lost it in the ring. He's never lost it in the ring, and you're holding a belt that's essentially secondhand because you didn't win it from the champion, who was David Benavidez, and he didn't lose it in the ring. He lost it on the scales during the pandemic, and Canelo Alvarez immediately took the opportunity to capitalize on it because he didn't have to go through David Benavidez to earn that title. And then he went through Caleb Smith to get the WBA title, and he didn't put up much of a challenge or much resistance. And now Canelo Alvarez is stating that he wants to be the first Mexican super middleweight undisputed world champion. So he has a 3-fight plan. As I told you guys, it was going to play out. I told you guys exactly how this was going to play out, and it's playing out exactly how I told you. In February, he's going to fight Avni Yildirim, who's his mandatory, but oddly enough, he was franchised by the WBC, so he didn't have to honor any of his mandatory challenges. So yet, he's going to fight Avni Yildirim in February. Why not fight David Benavidez in February, give him an opportunity to regain his WBC title in a massive unification bout, which would be huge for the sport of boxing. It would be huge for Mexico, and it would be huge for the boxing fans and pundits. But no, he's going to honor a mandatory that he doesn't even have in Avni Yildirim, who just lost to Anthony Durrell. He hasn't had a win and hasn't come back to do anything since then. So David Benavidez beats the man that beat that man. David Benavidez beat Anthony Durrell, who beat Avni Yildirim for his WBC title that he was originally stripped of. And yet Canelo Alvarez, Avni Yildirim hasn't had a win. He actually hasn't been in the ring since losing to Anthony Durrell. But yet Canelo Alvarez is going to fight Avni Yildirim in February instead of giving David Benavidez the opportunity. Okay, so let's do one further. Then he's going to go on to fight Billy Joe Saunders, who we know had weight issues and missed weight and failed tests, failed performance enhancing tests. In the fight, he was supposed to fight Demetrius Boo Boo Andre for the WBO title. He since moved up for that particular substance was weight loss, and obviously he couldn't make the weight because immediately he moved up to 168 from middleweight at 160, and he's the WBO champion. And so that's who Canelo Alvarez pegged to fight. You got it, like I told you, Cinco de Mayo weekend. And then he says that he wants to fight Caleb Plant in September, Mexican Independence Day weekend. And it's a possibility he'll come back in December if all goes well with those 3 fights. But David Benavidez is not part of the plan. That could possibly be a trilogy match with former unified middleweight reigning world champion superstar boxer Gennady Triple G Golovkin, in which he fought twice. The first fight ended in a draw. Second fight ended in him getting a victory. He says if he comes up to 168, he'll give him the opportunity, possibly in December. And he says, I'll probably hurt him bad and knock him out this time, but I really don't have nothing to prove. But if he wants to come to 68, I'll fight him at 168. David Benavidez is not being mentioned. So the real challenge is being avoided in David Benavidez, as we know, because he was considered the best 168 pounder in the world when he was the champion. And he was looking to unify against the other champions, but just wasn't coming to fruition. But yet, Canelo Alvarez is going to dance around him and fight. Given he even mentions fighting Gennady Golovkin, who would come up to 68 and, get this, wouldn't have a belt, just like David Benavidez doesn't have a belt. See, so the times and the days of being able to tell the fans that you're fighting the best, when the fans clearly see you're not fighting the best, because the best 168 pounder is David Benavidez, and it should be him getting the opportunity over Billy Joe Saunders and over Avni Yildirim. Now, I can understand Billy Joe Saunders to a degree because he does hold the title, and Canelo Alvarez is claiming to want to become undisputed at 168. These are the same claims he made at 160 when he won all the belts at 160, except for one belt. He needed the WBO title, oddly enough, from Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, and he opted to go in a different direction instead of facing Demetrius Andrade, who was one belt away from Canelo Alvarez of his goal and his claims of wanting to be the first Mexican undisputed middleweight world champion. And he was only one fight away, which was Demetrius Andrade, and he opted not to take that fight. Now he's going to give Avni Yildirim, who doesn't deserve the opportunity, who did nothing to deserve the opportunity, who's coming off a loss and hasn't fought. Avni Yildirim last fought in February 23rd of 2019 against Anthony Durrell. Avni Yildirim fought February 23rd of 2019. He lost to Anthony Durrell, and that's the last time we've seen him in the ring, 2 years ago. And Canelo Alvarez is going to give him the opportunity at a unification bout, who, let's not forget, Avni Yildirim is Canelo Alvarez's longtime sparring partner. So this is a favor. But in the same token, oddly enough, Canelo Alvarez states in this comment, in this interview, when mentioning Triple G, I don't have to do him any favors. But you're doing Avni Yildirim, who's a longtime sparring partner, you're doing him a favor by giving him an opportunity for accomplishing and doing nothing. For losing 2 years ago, not even having a fight, not even getting in the win department, and you're giving him the opportunity at 2 belts for coming off a loss. But you won't give David Benavidez the opportunity, and you're claiming he can't make weight, and you're claiming he don't have a belt. But he is 0 losses in the loss department and column, and he lost his belt on the scale. But you won't give him the opportunity to rectify and regain his title that he lost on the scale during the pandemic. But you'll give Avni Yildirim the opportunity. Well, we know what this is. This is why the fans, they get upset and they say Canelo Alvarez is simply not fighting the best competition that's available. But that's all I got for y'all. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit that bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all we got for y'all. And make sure y'all hit that like button as you come in. Peace.